but with only one hand. Sometimes your other hand is busy, it's playing a tune, and you can't play two notes with two hands. You've got to get all that work done with one hand. So today I'm going to cover a few of the things that I find useful. I like to make an L shape. If you strike with your index finger, it will be a small L. Or if you strike with your middle finger, it'll be a kind of a bigger L. We've got to almost hold this index finger up out of the way. We never want to have tension in our hands. People come and they play the instrument like this and wonder why they're not getting a good sound. So it's always keeping it super relaxed, but still keeping those other fingers out of the way. The aim is always to get both of the notes sounding the same amount, so the same volume or the same amount of attack. To do this, we need to get our hand in the middle of these two notes. We're normally trying to strike on this area just next to the dimple. So to do that, you need to think about how to angle your hand. We're going to look at these two down here. If my thumb is here, with that L shape, this finger gets lost. Whereas if my finger is here, this thumb is also off the correct angle. What I find works for me is to put it at a slight angle. It's not straight, or they're both in the middle, but one's a little higher and one's a little lower. And it varies from pan to pan and hand to hand. So have a little play around with where that sweet spot is for you on these two notes. With the other hand, it's going to feel different again. It's really a case of using your ears and listening in. We also don't want to have a flam or a ripple effect. You hear how this thumb hits first? That's exactly what we don't want to do. So I find that thinking of the motion from the wrist is really helpful, just like with a drumstick. And it's a case of really listening and adjusting that angle. We don't want to have our elbows out like a chicken, bringing them in, feeling nice and relaxed. As we move up around the pan, it gets more difficult. The angle for these notes isn't the same as the angle for these notes. So slowly pivot your thumb and your finger until you find the spot that's comfortable for you. It's really important to just sit and play your instrument. And I don't mean improvising in a fluid way, but really sitting down, play the same note 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, really zoning into that sound. That's how you're going to get the best touch in an instrument. Moving upwards, we do have to bring our elbows out a little bit, but still trying to keep really relaxed up in the shoulder. And then the hardest two, to get both playing at the same time. Obviously, depending on how tall you are, maybe you can get your arms all the way around. I find I can't, so normally that means I've got to reach across the instrument. Or this may be a case where I'm able to use 2 fingers. But generally, if I want to use my thumb and my finger, I'll reach across. So the ones nearest me, elbows in. They come around, trying to keep nice and relaxed in the shoulders. Further around, this is maybe the harder point. Again, without getting our arms up, trying to keep nice and relaxed. And then finally, these ones at the top, you may have to cross over. So that's all the ones around the edge. But what if you want to use the ding as well? Let's try with the right hand and see how far you can reach around. Ding, and your top note. If you were to play them alternately, your thumb might be rotating inwards this way, and your fingers might be rotating outwards that way. So try and borrow a little bit of that motion, even though they're both playing at the same time. The flick is really coming from the wrist, not the fingers. And you've got the additional problem of the sounds are so different. The ding is really resonant. It gives a low sound, but it doesn't have much attack. Whereas the higher notes, they're very pingy, they cut through, but they don't last as long. So trying to get them sounding balanced is a real challenge. Again, there comes a moment where your wrist has to turn in on itself. So at some point, it's easy to flip the hand around. You can't play your thumb on the middle note and your forefinger down here because your body's in the way. So of course, you've got to turn your hand around. It's quite unlikely that you'd need to play with your right hand in some of these locations, but it's really worth practicing. So have a go with your instrument. You may have a different number of notes than me. You'll definitely have different shaped hands and arms and bodies. So where do you need to flip around? Try the same thing with the left hand. See what feels more comfortable. Once you've got those doubles feeling really, really comfortable, or those dyads, you can start to use them underneath music. So the aim is normally to get the two notes sounding the same. Sometimes you may want one to be louder than the other, and that's another thing to work on once you've got them balanced. But for now, let's try and get them both sounding out at the same time. We want them to be hitting at exactly the same time. It's really a case to let go of your ego, sit and totally listen. Are they hitting at the same time? Okay, no, my thumb's hitting first. Let me even it out. Okay. That's going a lot better. Are they hitting at the same volume? It's time to really annoy your housemates and play the same two notes again and again and again. And once you've got them, practice moving around. You want to have the same hand position each time. You don't want to be deciding, how am I going to play those high notes? Sit down now, take the time to work it out, so that when you come to improvise, your hands automatically know what to do. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for a new video every week.